Okay, we have cut the tenons, we've cut the grooves for the bottom, we've cut the grooves for the spindles. Now it's time to put some decoration on our piece. Okay, you can see all the other joinery we've done. The arch that we're going to cut is only going to go on your lower short rails. This is not something we're going to do on your uppers. So I've drawn an arc based on the dimensions on the plan. Okay, we'll cover that in class. And now I'm going to head over to the bandsaw and I'm going to rough this cut out. Okay, I'll probably, just to be safe, put in a couple of relief cuts, maybe one here and one here. Remember, I don't want to cut past this line. I put all of the work in to cut the tenons and the grooves on this piece. I don't want to ruin it now. So I'm going to break this up into 3 shorter, straighter cuts on the bandsaw, and then we'll go over to the spindle sander and sand this to a nice arch shape. So again, we're only laying this out on the lower short rails, and so far I've only laid it out on one of my rails, and I'll show you why here in a second. So I'm going to make my relief cuts first, and then we're going to head over and cut these blocks out and head to the sander to get this shaped. Okay, I've cut my arch out. Okay, you can see I still have my line showing. I'm going to use that line now as a guide when I go to the sander. Okay, this isn't exactly the smoothest thing in the world. What we're going to do now is go ahead and get that. I probably didn't need those relief cuts, but again, I don't want to risk the chance of ruining this workpiece now that since I've already have, you know, a whole bunch of work put into it. So I want to make sure I take my time and don't mess it up now. So we're going to head over to the spindle sander and we'll talk about sanding this down to our mark. Alright, at the spindle sander now, we've already roughed out the arc on the bandsaw and we're ready to go ahead and get this down to our line. Now a couple of pieces of advice on the spindle sander. This rotates clockwise. So when I feed my stock in, I want to feed into that rotation. If I feed with the rotation, it's going to want to pull it out of my hands. Okay? This is meant to be done in smooth passes here. We're not going to try and stay in one spot. We want to move through the cut. If I stay in one spot too long, I'm going to end up dishing this out or burning my workpiece. So we'll turn this on. Okay, and I'm gently, okay, we're going to bring this in and sand all the way along my part. Now I'm a little bit further away here, so I might slow down as I feed in right here. Okay, again, the goal is to not go past your line. Okay, I still have my line here, and I'm going to stop now because I like the way that this feels. I don't feel any bumps or dips or valleys. The arc to me Okay, it looks nice and even. Okay, so rather than risk sanding further, okay, this is just aesthetic. I'm pleased with this, so I'm going to stop. What I'm going to do now is take this arc and transfer it to the other rail that I'm going to cut. That way they are identical. So rather than mark each one individually, we'll mark one, cut the curve we like, and transfer this curve to our other workpiece. So let's go do that. All right, we've got this arc all furred out and it looks really good. What we need to do is transfer this shape onto this rail and then cut that out the exact same way you saw this one done. Now a couple of things to think about here. We need to make sure that we are aligned along the top and we are aligned left and right. I don't want to accidentally mark this off center. So you could, right, lay these down on edge so that the bottom surfaces are exactly the same, and then simply eyeball or feel, right, to make sure that these are exactly in line with each other. When they are, you can hold it together with your hand and trace it this way, or you can try and lay it back down and trace it that way. But since I have it perfect right here, I'm just going to trace this gently onto my other workpiece. So now, if I go and cut this out the same way I did the other one, it is going to be an exact match to the arc that I just cut. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process and end up with two short rails that have the exact same arc on them, and they will be done and ready to go into the table assembly.